Friday, 5 o'clock. You're in your rig, you're headed home, and you're thinking this is the last meaningless football weekend until possibly mid-February. Think about that for a second. Week 0 in college football is next week. This weekend, just NFL preseason games, unless high school football is going to tickle your fancy. Then you got a bunch of games in the Valley, heck, starting in a couple of hours. I'm Johnny Ballgame. Thanks again for being with us on this Friday. It's Idaho Sports Talk with Prater on the Ballgame. Boise State play-by-play broadcaster Bob Beeler sitting in for Michael Forrest Prater today. Bob, how are you? Happy? Happy stuff. Been a great first 2 hours. Let's finish strong, my man.
Sounds good. Getting closer and closer to the start of football season.
Are you ready? You ready for this? What does Beeler do to prepare this time of year? You and Cavender, you guys got a game to call 2 weeks from tomorrow. What are you guys doing?
We're doing just taking a little look at Washington. I try to watch a couple of Washington's games from last year. The only thing that's hard, I kind of make my little depth chart on it, try to watch and help me get looks of body shapes and what the guys look like. But the problem is when you're watching a game from last year, there's usually about 25 to 30% of the players that are in the game that aren't going to play coming up when you're watching them. Week 1 is the hardest game to prepare for the opposing team. Because at least for UCF, I can record their game with Kent State and watch it over and over and over again if I want to watch it.
Yeah, for the prep work. Well, 2 weeks from tomorrow, think about that, Boise State fan. You're going to be in Seattle watching the Broncos take on the Washington Huskies. This is our video segment, so we welcome our video audience. And if you want to check out our Facebook page, we're going to talk about the new LED light show that's going to go on at Albertsons Stadium from here on out. Last night, Taylen Green put some video on his Instagram. We're showing that for everybody right now on our video audience. And like I said, it's on our Facebook page too. But Bob, think of like maybe JP would know more about this, but think of like a Pink Floyd concert and lights going all different ways and psychedelic. Whoa, what is this stuff? This looks really cool that Albertsons Stadium is going to be able to do this. Bob, this is just something like Vince Lombardi is probably rolling over in his grave, seeing what's become of his sport. But Bob, this has become of his sport. And I think it's pretty darn cool.
I'd like to think Vince would be happy that the game does things to make the fan experience better. I just think that, you're looking at attendance numbers at a lot of places. And the game, unfortunately, has become so much driven by TV. They determine the start times. I mean, if you're going to try to get the best crowds at Boise State, forget TV. We're doing it to try to get the best crowds.
I think you're right on that.
I think in September, I think I'd want to kick off at 6 o'clock. In October, I think I'd want to kick off around 3 or 3:30. And if it was November, I think I'd want to kick off at 1 o'clock for an optimum crowd. Forget the opponent. Just if TV did not dictate, if you could dictate to TV when you'd want to play for your fan base as far as warmth, coolness, which is a factor in September.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess. I think in this market, weather-wise, you'd want to play in the evening in September, middle of the day in October, and then go earlier in November.
Is that because of the new LED light show that Albertsons Stadium now has the power to do?
Well, I think if you wanted to have the LED lights, and that was your first and foremost reasoning, I think you'd want to have the kickoffs all the time. When it's a little bit darker. I mean, you could kick off in November at 5 o'clock. And it's going to be dark.
Oh, it's already,
November.
It's dark in Boise, Idaho in November by 5 o'clock. Every day we leave Idaho Sports Talk those months, we're driving home in pitch black weather. Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's going to be terrific. And it's like, what's the saying go? To no good deed goes unpunished, something like that. And basically that's translation where no matter what you do, people are going to complain about something. And I've lived in Boise, Idaho quite a number of years of my life, as have you. JP's been here longer than us, and it feels like, especially with this fan base, and you can call us and text us and share your thoughts on the new LED light show that Albertsons Stadium has put into its facility. But I read a lot of, but we're not going to be able to see it probably until October 7th because the UCF game, the home opener, kicks off at 5 p.m. September 9th, Boise, Idaho. Is it dark by 8 o'clock? Usually, no. Is it?
No.
Is it dark at 8:45 though?
Maybe.
When the game is over, they can have some kind of light show afterwards?
Sure.
I mean, let's be honest. The second home game, September 16th, that starts at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. You're not going to get the light show there, Bob. So the following game after that is Saturday, October 7th against San Jose, and pretty darn sure it'll be dark by 6 p.m. when it starts. Bob, I ask you this. Will this affect the game day experience? Will you and Pete Cavender from the box that you call these games in as the play-by-play guy, are you going to look across the stands on the east side and say, whoa, fans are still there? Not the masses leaving for the exits like you've probably seen so many times. Is this something you think that can maybe keep people there a little longer?
Well, I think anything that's new is going to keep people there longer to begin with. But I think it's just, again, adding to the total experience. We were talking next year they're getting a new sound system. That's going to add to the total experience. The big scoreboard adds to the total experience. Obviously, winning adds to the total experience. Good weather for the game adds. So they're one thing is not probably going to be the end all beat all to get people to do or come or do anything. But I think it all adds up and makes for a better afternoon or evening of college football. And I think Boise State has done a great job trying to put together the total package to make it a better experience.
What about you guys? 208-424-9300. Give us a call. Shoot us a text on the Cloverdale Plumbing text line. Does this enhance anything for you? I mean, do you have young children? Do you think your kids, if they can stay up, I don't know, not super late, but are they going to want to say, no, let's stay here till the end of the game because we want to see the light show after they win? Boise State is winning in the fourth quarter. Let's go home. Let's beat traffic. Let's listen to Bob Beeler on the way home. No, not tonight. Sorry, Bobby. We're going to stay in the stadium because we want to see the post-game light show. Heck, the drunken rump pot hanging out in the stadium, having too many beers. Maybe they stay longer than they would, Bob. They're not walking over across the street to the local watering holes because they want to see what this light performance is going to do at the end of the show. Let us know. Is this it? And what else would you want? Jeremiah Dickey always tells you, hashtag, what's next? What would next be? Is it the stadium sound? But for the meantime, is this going to keep you in your seat a little longer? Hey, they're trying. Jeremiah Dickey is kicking butt, I think, with this thing, Bob. This athletic department looks entirely different to me than it did when the previous regime was under control. Jeremiah Dickey, again, nails this thing. Bob, I think there's going to be less pockets of open seating, especially maybe even during a blowout. If they can turn the lights off, say Taylen Green runs into the end zone, you're calling a touchdown, and briefly at least maybe dim the lights so the light show, the laser show can take effect when they're celebrating in the end zone or whatever the case is. Now that might really spark the fans in that stadium to hang around, stay loud, and just give them, I always say, throw them a bone. Give them something to chew on here. Maybe this is that.
I think for sure they're going to have something special between the third and fourth quarter. Some of the stadiums that have it have something that they do every time that is in that. And obviously that makes sense because if it's a game that starts later in the afternoon, you have a chance for it to be dark by the time you get to the start of the fourth quarter. So, and I'm dealing with no inside information. I'm just basically going on what some of the other schools have done. But I would not be surprised if they come up with something that they do every week and ends up being a tradition at the start of the fourth quarter.
At the end of the third quarter, that's a lot of time when with Boise State in the old days when they're kicking the crap out of somebody, you're like, man, do we really need to be here? Like I'm saying, maybe this will keep people staying there a little longer. And it's just, my one beef with Albertsons Stadium has always been there's, and this sounds stupid because there's a game going on, but there's nothing to do, man. The concession lines, what we hear, are just way too long. There's not any type of porch or patio or section where you can say, I'm tired of sitting in my seat. I got a couple of buddies that are at the game, but I'm not sitting with them. So maybe we could go meet by whatever the porch, whatever a bunch of stadiums have these now, a place you can go and hang out, meet for a beverage, grab a bite to eat, see some of your buddies that maybe you saw in the tailgate. Now you can meet up in the game. You can continue to watch the game, but you don't have to sit on your old cold or hard metal bleacher up there. Like, give us more stuff to do at the stadium. And I think Jeremiah Dickey is very cognizant of that. And I think this is part of it. If you're sitting in your seat and all this cool stuff is happening with all these lights, again, go to our Facebook page, or heck, turn on your video, our YouTube channel right now. JP is showing the example. They turned it on just to play around with it last night, Bob, and play around with it. They did. It does. It looks like, Bob, I went to a laser show when I was a kid. You don't want to know what I was doing there, Bobby, but I had a blast, man. And this to me kind of reminds me of that. It almost has this rock concert element in the middle of a football game. I just hope, Bob, it doesn't confuse you. You're going to be calling these games, and all of a sudden you're going to be looking at all these shiny lights.
Yeah, but it's going to be at a timeout after a score. I would assume if Boise State put this on in the middle of play, they'd get a 15-yard penalty.
Yep. And now this is the one information I want. 208-424-9300. Will this affect your game day experience? And if you want to be the old curmudgeon and say, no, I don't even like these lights, we are not into the future just yet, call us and let us know that as well. But Bob, what I would want to know is, I don't know the rules, like for the production crew at Albertsons Stadium. The NCAA, the Mountain West, whoever the authority is, I'm sure has rules. You can't just go flipping the light switch on and off in the stadium to show the fans your LED show. Or can you?
I don't know.
I don't know what those rules are.
I've seen, obviously, where they've turned the lights out between quarters. But I don't know if you score a touchdown, say with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and it was dark, could you do that? I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, because, I mean, to the other coaching staff, your opponent, like, whoa, you keep turning the lights out when we're trying to, every time you score so you can play this dog and pony laser show? Like, get off it, man. Yeah, that could very well be the case. JP, have you heard anything on that about turning the lights on and off and how they can use this?
I do not know, but I know that I've seen, even when the Vandals scored, Johnny, they would turn the lights off and kind of do some sort of it wasn't an LED light show.
No, they do that stuff
but
too.
They would, blink the lights, if you will, and so that's worth looking into.
I hope they can. Again, I mean, Bob, your seat. I mean, I sit on the same floor you do of the Stickle. I can't wait to see this from the press box view, because I feel like I have a bird's eye view, and I can't wait. But if this is one of those things for me, it doesn't matter where you're sitting, you're going to get the full effects of this LED show. Again, find it on our Facebook page. JP, put that sucker up.
You say whether, what it's going to be like. I guarantee you, Pete and I will talk about it. Whatever they do between the third quarter and fourth quarter, or if that's when they do something and we come back, we will describe what happened.
I love it. Hey, the Aaron Butler Memorial Purple Heart Run. How about this? It's tomorrow, Saturday the 19th at Eagle Island State Park. 4 different runs to choose from, starting at 9 a.m. You got some family fun afterwards as well. Proceeds will go to the Aaron Butler Memorial Foundation. Get more details now at KTIK.com. Is Rodney Robinson flying under the radar lower than any Boise State player, especially for someone who started every game last year? Let's get to know Rodney Robinson, Bob. He spoke with the media earlier today. You'll hear that when we come back. It's Prater on the Ballgame, Idaho Sports Talk, KTIK, The Ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this